There, we're filling up. Okay. Should I do a roll call?
That would be nice.
Okay,
I'm not sure who's all on.
okay. Okay. All right, and we know that Heidi's not gonna be here, so we have a quorum, so we can go ahead and start. I'd like to call the June 16th, 2020 meeting of the Moorhead Public Service Commission to order. Before we start, I'd like to do a roll call. Who's here today, virtually? So go ahead and chime in, or should I call you?
Just call names.
I'll call names. Mary?
Present.
Sebastian's no. Heidi's no. Joel?
Present.
Chuck?
Here.
Okay, Deb's here.
Yep.
And in the room today is Chris Thompson,
Travis Schmidt.
John Bolger.
Cheryl Blossel.
okay. Like to entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve. Daily.
Olson, second.
Okay, I have a motion, a second. Before we do that, I want to note that there's no customers needing to be heard today, so we can move on. I have a motion and second to approve the agenda. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Haven't heard anything. Right, that's what I'm wondering.
Mary, can you hear us? Mary?
Mary, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you
My
hear
mic-
me?
Yeah,
Yep.
my mic's on, so,
I've been hearing you.
oh, okay. Have we not been hearing them?
I don't know. I want to redo that vote.
Sure, we have a motion to approve the agenda. We have a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Okay, great. Post same sign. Okay, motion's carried. I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
This is Commissioner Paulson. I'll make the motion.
Daily second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Paulson, seconded by Daley to approve the consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
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 Post same sign. Motion carries. Customers to be heard, there are none. Old business. Anybody have any old business? Seeing none, we'll move on. Just report, City Council. Mr. Hendrickson.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of things from the last council meeting. We approved wastewater improvements, which with the treatment facility, we had interim improvements to the water treatment facility, and we're going to have some big projects out there, and we're going to be adding a sanitary lift station. I think it's number 14. And in the second half of the meeting, we discussed the process of recruiting a new city manager, and Dan Molly was appointed as the acting city manager when Chris Volker's exits, which is in a week or two. So big things coming. I know Moorhead Public Service is going to go through the same thing, but yeah, we're just at the beginning process for recruiting a new city manager. That's all I have.
Thank you. Public Service Commission? Any committees or, okay. Manager report, Travis.
Sure. Couple of things to discuss this evening. In the packet, you see a power supply mix from MRES. This is our 2019 power supply mix. Over the last year, the MRES board has made a change in their determination on our power supply and what's justified as renewables, carbon-free, and then carbon emissions as well too. So from last year, we went from 63% renewables down to 55 in 2019. Our carbon-free emissions went from 71% to 87%, and the remainder of that is carbon emissions as well too. So we are in a very good spot with that. Other than that, yeah, the biggest thing was they were trying to figure out how to justify it based off their market purchases, and that's why they changed their determinations. So going forward, those will change on an annual basis, and we usually get an update about this time or just prior to May of this year or about May timeframe of every year. So that's the information on that one. Also, we had in there the 2019 Consumer Confidence Report, which is really our drinking water report. And I'm going to have Mark Pritchard come up and speak to that just a little bit.
Hi, Mark Pritchard, Water Plant Supervisor. Quick background on the overview of the Consumer Confidence Report. The purpose of this report is to improve public health protection by providing some educational materials that allow consumers to see what types of contaminants that we test for and find in our drinking water. We do use that as part of our management strategy for long-term planning for potential removal of contaminants of emerging concern and various other items. Each year, when we receive the information from the Minnesota Department of Health, we get the information out via email and on our mpsutility.com website. And that information is now currently on the MPS website at the Drinking Water Report section. And it goes over some basic information showing where the water comes from, what we tested for and what we found within the water, and whether or not we have any kind of MCL issues, which we had none. We do a very good job every year of making sure that we don't have any maximum contaminant level violations, and we've had a clean bill of health for yet another year, so we did pretty well.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks.
Along with that, another item, another update on the financials based on COVID-19. In the packet, it talks about the overall sales impacts, where we're seeing increased usage and where we're seeing decreased usage. Along with that, the overall impact as well, and I'm going to let Mark Moylan virtually speak about those as well. Go ahead, Mark.
Thanks, Travis. This is Mark Moylan, Controller, Moorhead Public Service. This is kind of a repeat of what we talked about last month. We did a review of where we're seeing consumption changes, modifications over the last couple of months. And in May, again, we noticed that residential consumption was up about 11% compared to the previous year. That's an increase from last month being only about 3% up. So again, more staying at home. The school impact, I think, has had a big impact on what's going on with the schools being closed, as well as some of the smaller businesses. The small general service consumption, which is our small retail businesses, the electric consumption was down about 4% year over year. Compares to about 4% in April, so again, consistent. Our large general service, which is our large industrial customers, was down about 12% in May compared to May of 2019. That compares to being down 3% in April. I'm not 100% certain what has really caused that. Could be weather too. We did have a relatively mild April, May, so maybe heating wasn't as necessary in the larger businesses, but we did notice that the general service consumption was down 12%. On the water side, again, as with the electric, we've noticed that residential consumption was about 12% over May 2019 in May 2020. Apartment usage was up about 8% year over year. And as with the businesses, commercial usage was down, as was industrial usage. So we've had a shift from residential going to residential from the industrial and commercial usage. Another thing that we've been tracking too is our collections. So we continue to do our billing, we continue to get the readings, we continue to work with customers, refer them to the assistance agencies. As we mentioned last month, West Central Community, Minnesota Communities Action did double their crisis funds availability for those that qualify for assistance. And we still continue to refer a lot of our customers to West Central. One thing we have noticed is that we still remain at about 15 to 16% of all accounts being past due. So that really hasn't changed, which is a good thing. It shows that the economy is probably going okay, and those that used to pay their bills on time are continuing to. One troubling trend, though, that we've noticed is that in the group of accounts that are past due, we've noticed that the total dollar value that is now past due is almost doubled through May. So in February, it was about $672,000. And at the end of May, it was up to approximately $1.215 million. So it has doubled. And what's causing that is there are a number of customers within this group that either, I'm not sure what's causing it, but they've accumulated 3 to 6 months worth of unpaid bills. So that's the customer group that we're going to have to work very carefully with as we get to our reinstatement of normal collection processes, so that we can, work on reasonable repayment plans and allow them to, keep their service going, and then also catch up on the bills that they are delinquent on. And so that's kind of my summary of where we're at now. Overall, it's looking pretty good, but there is a group of customers that we have to pay special attention to and make sure we work with them. With that, I'll turn it over to Travis.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, on top of what Mark just said, City Manager Chris Volkers and myself have sent out a joint memo to the Commission and the Council talking about a transition plan once we are able to go back to our normal processes after the peacetime declaration is put to rest or changed so that we can start those processes. We're also going to be listening in on a conference call this week with the MPUC and the Minnesota Department of Commerce talking about this issue with all cities or natural gas and electric utilities in the state of Minnesota. So we'll have more on that, but there was a memo provided to Council and Commission members so that they can understand the plan and have some background on that as well too. And finally, the only other thing I've got to talk about, it was on consent this evening, was our annual management report. Typically, we do the annual management report at the same time we do our audited financials, so there's not a whole lot of overlap on that. Basically, everything that you see in the annual management report is also audited financials. So if you're interested in the overall annual work that's done by Moorhead Public Service, that'd be a good item to take a look at as well too. Other than that, that's all I got.
Thank you. Do we need to approve the acceptance of your report?
I think you should, yes.
Okay, thank you. I'd entertain a motion to accept the manager's report.
Daly, so moved.
Paulson seconds.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose same sign. Okay, thank you. Motion carries. Item number 11, approve amended policy on billing for overcharges and undercharges, policy number 21.
Sure. I will start with this. In the recent past, we've had some concerns with the way the commission policy was written. There were some concerns with the interest rate and how that was calculated. Along with that, we've also provided you the administrative policy 21, which is basically a working document for staff to utilize so that they can work through the details of what the commission policy is an overview of. So from there, I'm going to have Mark Moylan talk a little bit more about that as well.
Okay, thank you, Travis. Mark Moylan, Controller, Moorhead Public Service. What we have in front of you is a commission policy, an administrative policy, The commission policy, as we reviewed that, we noticed that it doesn't define what we should do in terms of interest on overcharges, because we've identified a couple of security light overcharges recently that go back a number of years. And we felt it was appropriate that we would also return some interest because in essence, we overcharged a couple of customers. So we want to make sure that that interest methodology was included in the commission policy. And then in the administrative policy, which goes more into working on how to do the items, how to make the changes. We also noticed that there was an outdated program that it referred to offering credits and refunds. It was the old Capture the Wind program, which I think expired about 5 or 6 years ago. So we wanted to remove that. Now, as you see these, what we're really looking for is approval on the commission's policy, which is for billing of overcharges and undercharges. And then we thought we'd show you the administrative policy. And administrative policies we basically work on internally. They are a little more fluid and subject to change more frequently as maybe our systems change or some of the methods that we use to calculate some things change. Maybe we create some spreadsheets or our customer information system, has an update that will allow us to do it in a different format. So we do kind of have the two items running simultaneously. So this one we just wanted to get updated to reflect the inclusion of the interest in particular on the commission policy, and then remove some language on an old outdated policy in the administrative function. With that, I'll turn it over to Travis, unless anybody has any questions.
Thank you, Mark. I have nothing.
I don't see any questions. Any questions, commissioners? No? Okay, I'm ready for a motion then.
Madam Chair, I'll move to approve the amended policy on billing for overcharges and undercharges.
Daly second.
We have a motion by Paulson, seconded by Daley, to approve the policy on billing for overcharges and undercharges. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 12, approve amendment number 2. That's the additional,
Yep, that's the amended, or that's the added item for this evening.
right. Mr. Schmidt?
Sure. I'll speak to this since Kurt's helping with running the meeting in the back here. So we actually received an amendment number 2 yesterday from the state of Minnesota for lease of dark fiber. Basically what this is we provide fiber optic cable through Moorhead to MSUM and other state entities or city entities to help with providing communications to them. In 2015/2016, we approved this agreement. In 2018, we had an amendment to it based on the addition of a business office that was added. And ending in June 30th of 2020, we've got the first 5 years of the agreement is coming to an end. Within that agreement, there were 3 additional 5-year terms. So what's being requested by the state of Minnesota is in amendment number 2 is to amend that policy or amend that agreement or the joint powers agreement for another 5 years. Basically, the price will stay the same between the 2018 amendment, which was roughly about $1,578.25 per month for the next 5 years, or a total of $94,695. So that draft amendment number 2 is in front of you. Again, it's been provided back to the state of Minnesota for some changes. Once that's been updated by them, we'll provide it to Attorney John Bolger for review. And once he approves it in final form, we'll provide it for signatures after that.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, I'm seeing none. I'm ready for a motion.
Daly move to approve.
Paulson, second.
I have a motion by Daley, seconded by Paulson, to approve amendment number 2 to joint powers agreement. Discussion? Seeing none, all in
None.
favor? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose
Aye.
same sign. Okay, that amendment has been approved. We're not closing the meeting today. Item 14 is upcoming meetings. July 7th is pretty certain.
I would guess that July 7th will occur at this point in time.
We're probably going to need that July 7th meeting, so if you make sure that's on your calendar, that would be great. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Daily second.
All in favor, say aye. Oh, we don't
Aye.
have to vote. Excellent. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Travis.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Joe.